first and foremost problem in this crowded and overcrowded world is one of food.
As world population skyrocketed during the 1940s and 1950s, U.S. agronomist Norman Borlaug developed a disease-resistant crossbred wheat variety to address world hunger. Known as the father of the Green Revolution, Borlaug shared his approach for over 5 decades in Mexico, South America, Africa, and Asia. By increasing food production and self-sufficiency, Borlaug successfully expanded humanitarian and scientific frontiers to save over 1 billion lives, for which he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Norman Ernest Borlaug was born on March 25, 1914, in the small town of Cusco, Iowa, on a family farm started by his grandpa, Nels Borlaug, a first-generation American of Norwegian immigrants. Early in life, he had to work on the farm, which taught him the meaning of hard work and instilled his love for agriculture.
So his favorite song is called the Iowa Corn Song. People were divided and very wary of others of different religion, different ethnicities. They spoke different languages at home, immigrants. But every morning, the school teacher had them all stand up and sing about the one thing they had in common, being from Iowa.
Additionally, his high school wrestling coach instilled in him an attitude of never give up, fight as hard as you can, and struggle through tough times. After high school, when increased mechanization in farming allowed Borlaug's family to manage without his labor, and when the start of the Great Depression left his family with little money, Borlaug was lured by the promise of a wrestling scholarship to the University of Minnesota. There he studied forestry and met his wife, Margaret. After graduation, he settled into a job working for the U.S. Forestry Service. However, Borlaug's mission in life quickly changed early in his career after attending a lecture by Professor Alvin Steckman, where he learned that wheat rust was killing crops in Mexico and Asian countries, which resulted in widespread food insecurity. Intrigued by the experience and motivated to make a difference, Borlaug returned to the University of Minnesota to study plant pathology. Immediately following his graduation, Borlaug was hired by the Rockefeller Foundation and sent to Mexico in collaboration with their government to create a stem rust-resistant wheat variety. Once settled in Chapingo, Mexico, just outside of Mexico City, Borlaug and his team began testing wheat seeds used by the locals. They planted over 110,000 seeds and monitored them to see which ones displayed resistance to wheat rust. When harvest time came, they discovered only 4 seed types survived the scourges of rust. Borlaug took these seeds north to Sonora, where they could grow crops out of season when plants in Chapingo couldn't, due to lower altitude. He called this shuttle breeding. This was very beneficial because he could get more results per year. After harvest in Sonora, Borlaug took the seeds that survived back down to Chapingo and planted those seeds again. After 4 years of shuttle breeding, Borlaug's wheat crops had a much higher survival rate, to the point at which stem rust was almost non-existent. However, because there was so much wheat at the top, the wheat would fall over, ruining the crop. Borlaug's solution to this was to crossbreed his stem rust-resistant wheat and a Japanese dwarf wheat to make the stems stronger. It was easier said than done. It took Borlaug 7 years and over 8,100 crosses to achieve a durable and extraordinary, high-yielding, strong-stemmed wheat variety. After he developed this variety, he shared it in countries throughout the world, such as Turkey, Indonesia, Afghanistan, Tunisia, Pakistan, India, Brazil, and many more Asian, South American, and African countries. Borlaug himself traveled overseas to these distant locations where he taught farmers the methods for watering, fertilizing, and harvesting their wheat crops. Because most of the farmers were poor, their country's governments put up irrigation systems and paid for the fertilizer. With all of this new information, countries went from importing millions of billions of bushels of wheat to becoming self-sufficient in wheat production in a year and a half's time. In the spring of 1968, Borlaug heard that India's farmers' silos were overflowing with wheat. After that harvest, India broke its all-time harvest record by 150%. Scientists all over the world were inspired by his work, so they created high-yielding rice, corn, and other commodity variants. Then one day, Margaret got a call saying that Norman had won the Nobel Peace Prize. "This must be a mistake," Borlaug commented, even as reporters were showing up in the field. Finally believing it was true, he went on 2 news conferences. At the ceremony, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize and had a bunch of good things said about him. "We did not award the Peace Prize to the scientist, Dr. Borlaug," said Elise Lyonnaise. "We awarded it to Dr. Borlaug, of whom the scientist is just one well-integrated part." Additionally, Dr. Borlaug won numerous other awards, including the National Medal of Science, a Congressional Gold Medal, and as well had a statue unveiled at the U.S. Capitol in his honor. Even though Norman Borlaug achieved so much, he was still upset because he knew he only bought the world about 20 to 30 more years on Earth and would never win the ever-going war against hunger. "Lurking in the edges of my consciousness, I can see a point at which an over-burgeoning humanity becomes too much for Mother Earth to bear," Borlaug proclaimed. According to Borlaug, we need to keep making agricultural advancements, like his advancement, to feed the ever-growing population. Today, the population is growing rapidly, just hitting 8 billion in late 2022. And even though Dr. Norman Borlaug died in late 2009, the world still leverages his research methods to feed the burgeoning population.
Perhaps the greatest challenge that human beings have ever had is this: can we sustainably produce enough nutritious food to feed that 9.5 to 10 billion people, while at the same time dealing with the challenges of climate change or climate volatility, and while dealing with and preventing pandemic animal diseases and plant diseases, as well as human diseases?
Furthermore, Dr. Borlaug's legacy lives on through the World Food Prize organization that he started to honor and support other scientists whose innovations are changing the face of agriculture worldwide in their efforts to eliminate food insecurity. From a tiny town in northeast Iowa to the far reaches of the globe, where he freely shared his ideas for the betterment of humankind, Dr. Norman Borlaug's humanitarian spirit continues to positively impact the world in which we live in today.
Our love is stronger.